more homes than the Pac-12 network. We are the podcast of champions.
They give it back now to the 30, or down to the 20. All the band is out on the field.
I'm David Woods from Bruin Report Online.
And here he goes, Miles Jack.
And I'm Ryan Abraham from USCFootball.com.
Liner going to try to sneak it ahead. Touchdown, SC.
We are the podcast of champions. Welcome, everyone, back to the podcast of champions. I'm David Woods from Bruin Report Online, the UCLA site on the 24/7 Sports Network.
And I'm Ryan Abraham from USCFootball.com, the USC site on the 24/7 Sports Network. And together, in video glory, we make the podcast of champions, talking all things Pac-12 football, back in studio, back with the simulcast on our YouTube channel. David, right there next to me, even though he's sitting, I'm pointing the wrong way, but on the camera, he's right over there.
I'm also like further to the side than usual. You're getting more of a profile angle. There's a lot that's weird today.
Well, you're kind of facing not the camera. It's not like where you are.
So it's my unfortunate reality. I'm just going to move this monitor. How about that? Is that better? You like that?
Let me see. Let's see what you. Yeah, that's fine. You can see
like
the
that?
monitor and stuff.
Yeah.
Look at
now
that.
you can see what I'm looking at, so it doesn't look so
bearded
disconcerting.
glory.
Yeah.
This is our. Here, I'll clear this out. This is our. There's our little setup. But yeah, we're back. It's been a little while since we've been in studio. Are you like? Yeah, and we'll be able to put your comments and stuff up on the screen if you're watching the simulcast on YouTube, and if you're listening on the regular podcasting platform, we love that too. Questions or comments, you can email us, pac12podcast@gmail.com. I think we got a lot of emails today, Mr. Woods. You can also call or text us at 424-532-0678. The Twitter is at Pac12 Podcast, the website, pac12podcast.com, reddit.com/r/podcast of champions if you want to chat with other POC listeners. And of course, the most important aspect, the Apple Podcasting app. Get on your phone, get on there, get the app, boom, 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 punch it up, and say 5 stars, and then talk some trash to us, how ugly we are, how terrible our takes are, whatever it is. We just want that 5-star review.
All right, we got a couple new ones.
Ooh, nice.
This is from Funsies, a 5-star review. Great flight tracking podcast. Found this podcast when I was trying to track an inbound flight to LAX. If you're waiting for an arrival into LAX on a Thursday morning, this podcast will let you know when it's on final approach.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Love it.
This is from BDBSS, 5 stars. Abe Rabraham and Wade Doods provided the needed in-depth coverage each week to follow cursed fans of the Conference of Sun Bowl Champions. Gratitude is owed because my family will get the vacation they deserve this year from my fading the Buffs and Cardinal. Peace to Darrell, hallowed be his name. Their banter is also enjoyable as Abe's half-hearted concealed joy of the foretold rise of the, quote, team that shall not be named balances perfectly with the usual rightful self-hatred of Westwood Wade. As a fellow damned Bruin football fan, there's comfort in listening to Wade's yearly glimmer of hope and knowing it will quickly end in the familiar embrace of disappointment. Never forget Beeben, underwear for all. This must have been written before UCLA beat that ass on Saturday, Ryan.
True. We're going to get to all that and stuff too.
Yeah, but really quick, you agree UCLA beat that ass on Saturday?
Oh, they beat it to ass. Yeah, it was not as close as the... Yeah. I mean, I think, what was it before, like the Washington game? I was talking to you, the UCLA-Washington game, and you were just like, yeah, these guys are out. This guy's not going to play, blah, blah. Like, it was like, you were pretty doom and gloomy, and now you're all like, woo!
Look, I'm just a pure objective journalist and analyst, and when it's good, I say it's good. When it's bad, I say it's bad.
Gotcha.
That's it. Just pure objectivity over here.
Nice.
That's a hard word to say.
Objectivity.
Objectivity.
Especially when you're live on video, and
I don't care.
You're probably hungover, I would assume.
Never.
Should we show the mimosas we have? No, we don't have any mimosas, unfortunately.
Wish we did.
I wish we had mimosas. We do have a present.
Yeah.
Maybe I should put this up on the...
Show it.
Yeah. So,
our friend Andrew.
Do you recognize these?
Yeah, our friend Andrew from PDog206 on Twitter, Washington fan. I got lunch with him the other day, And he gifted us these awesome schedule posters. He should sell these.
They're very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know our rule about meeting people in person, right? We're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, we're not supposed to do that.
No, that's what the court had said.
Yeah, no, they told me to stay 100 yards away from anyone. Actually.
Yeah, it wasn't for our it was for your protection.
Yes.
They said no one that listens to the show should ever meet the host because that's bad news.
True.
Not that we're worried about ourselves. We're worried about you guys. Wow, we got a lot to get to. We're going to preview week 7, but we got to recap week 6. It is nice to be back in studio. My apologies, and thanks to David for moving things around. Just been out of town most of the time during the week, so I can't really do these live. But hell, do it Monday.
Sorry, were you thanking me for my flexibility?
Yeah, very rarely.
For the commitment I have to the show?
Yes.
For the desire I show to
I think everybody
make sure
knows.
this thing happens every week?
Everybody knows. Yeah.
Everybody knows.
They do. So let's get to, we can have some, I don't know if it's really breaking news, but.
Carl Durrell still fired.
Carl Durrell still fired. One of the things you worry about is like if you do the show too early, then there's like someone was fired. And as of right now, our buddy David Shaw is still employed by the Stanford Cardinal, so we'll get to that. So no firings yet. He's next, obviously, on the chopping block.
But finding very new and exciting ways to lose.
You know, if you're trying to get fired, you're just like going down. What was it, the old Eddie Murphy line about like, he's like, you want to go to hell, you don't want to wait in line. You want to take the Hell Express, like shoot the Pope, like something like that. Like, you know, David Shaw's like, I've done everything I can to get fired. Like, I go 3-9. I don't fire a single staff member. You guys still don't care. I blow a lead. I give up 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter.
I just want that buyout. I want to suck down pina coladas on a beach somewhere.
Yeah, it's like I can work 3 days a year doing the NFL Network analysis.
Has anyone seen what his what his end of the buyout would be? Maybe Stanford is just calling his bluff at this point.
$1 billion, something like maybe. Who the hell knows with Stanford? But yeah, so we'll get to all that. But Matt Rule was fired by the Carolina Panthers, and he had a.
Is he a coach somewhere?
Well, he could be because we have a couple Pac-12 openings and hopefully another one soon in the Pac-12. You know, Matt Rule took over a dumpster fire in Baylor. We have a couple dumpster fires you could take over here in the Pac-12.
Did he just create one though?
It was NFL dumpster fire. You know, it's like I don't judge against that. I mean, I look what he did in college. Like he was great in college.
Yeah, that seems to work out all the time.
Chip Kelly worked out well there.
Hey,
I mean, Nick Saban
just quietly sweeping the first 3 years under the rug.
Dude, 6-0. Come on, he got you on the bandwagon. Like he's got to be doing something right.
It doesn't take much to get me on the bandwagon.
True.
You just got to win. That's all.
Nice. Let's see.
Our friend Equity Bruin had a great line about opinions, and it's you're more tied to my opinions than I am. Once they leave my mouth, they're gone.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. The Pac-12 exclusive media rights window with Fox and ESPN, that did close. So it's like that window was open and now it is closed. Open market for all the Pac-12 inventory.
Are you really sitting here talking about media rights right now?
Yeah.
Do you know how many people just turned off this show?
I don't know.
How many people are watching? Two more people started watching, actually.
Yeah. Yep, see?
But figuratively speaking, Ryan, I just turned off. I just thought, oh, maybe I need to check Twitter again.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, we have a comment. When will Ryan buy out Dave? Nice. I like that. No, why would I? Like there's no buyout there. Like you have to be worth something to have a buyout. Like when you give Carl Durrell like a huge buyout, there's like what? No one wanted them. Why would you do that? So you're implying worth for David, and that's just not the case, Carlos. So sorry about that.
Wow.
Just being honest, just truth. Facts.
I'd be offended if I was paying attention to the first half of what you said there.
Go back and listen, which we know you won't do. Yeah, so the media rights deal. So basically all that means is that Fox or ESPN didn't come and just dump a boatload of money on the Pac-12's doorstep. It's going to be open, and they'll try to get as much money as they can from wherever. Digital will most likely be involved, like an Amazon or something like that. So trying to get the Pac-12 schools their money. Did you even look at our our ranking, our POC power rankings.
I reserve the right to be offended.
You can't. They're pretty close to what yours are that I saw you on Twitter.
Oh, but I saw you had to take the homer route and put USC at number 2 instead of 3. I see that.
The undefeated. You have to have the 2 LA schools.
The
at
undefeated team that looks like ass. Sorry, no, that's Homer Dave. They don't look as good as they looked in the first 3 weeks.
That's exactly right. And they just beat the crap out of a team that's really good that should have beat Oregon. So I don't know. I mean, like you're. This is more of the Homer Dave thing coming.
No. Pure objective journalist. That's what I am.
Right. If you're in the survivor pool, however we want to say it, make sure you put your picks in there. We have the links up at Pac12podcast.com. Dave is he went with Oregon last week. Mm-hmm. He's going with Washington this week. Matt sent us an update. He does a great job. 83 entries qualified for week 6. Only 59 survived. So it was kind of there was some culling there. 21 picked a loser and 3 failed to submit a pick. How'd you make it this far and then forget to put a pick in? I don't know. But 21 losers. 15 picked Washington. They didn't win.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, they were favorite, right? But not a big favorite, small favorite, right? Utah, 4 people picked Utah.
Mistakes were made, people.
Yeah. No, Washington was a big favorite, right?
Washington was.
Utah was
that
not.
one's a tough one.
Yeah. Utah is not a big favorite. So that's kind of this one. Stanford. 2 people picked Stanford.
If it was ATS, they would have been in great shape.
Bold move, but, and then he's just like, F. Okay, so, yeah. So he said this is another hard week. Cal plays Colorado, but more than half the field has already picked them. Washington hosts Arizona, but same problem. All that leaves is USC, Utah, Washington State, Oregon State, and Stanford at Notre Dame. Oh, Jesus. And who are you going with this week?
I'm going with Washington.
Okay, so you have Washington over Arizona. Okay, so you at least had Washington left, so smart move by you.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people who've already picked Washington. Like a lot of people.
Right. So this could be another sort of bloodbathy performance, I guess, in our survival pool. We did what was our show last week?
It was a preview of week 6 in the Pac-12.
I'm trying to see what date it was. I'm just looking at. I know, I haven't done a show in the friendly confines of our studio for a little while, so I'm trying to get all this stuff together. All this technical stuff that David doesn't have to worry about because I'm
the talent.
He doesn't have to worry about all that stuff. I do. Okay, it was October 6th was our show, so I was just seeing. We got a bunch of questions and stuff to get to, so we'll get to all that kind of stuff too. Anything else you wanted to talk about, David, before we jump into stuff?
We're going to talk about UCLA beating that ass, though, right?
We will talk about that.
Cool. As long as that's on the table, I don't really care.
It's definitely on the table. Our picks. So it was another. Well, 2 and 3. There's only 5 picks. We came down to the final game, the Oregon State game, which we'll talk about, which was crazy. 3 and 2 for David. 2 and 3 for me. I started off 0 and 2, so it was a pretty good comeback. I had a chance to actually win. Go 3 and 0 in the later games. But that was definitely a tough one. There were some weird ones. We got one completely right. We went together. We got one completely wrong together. And then all this stuff was all over the place. But we will get to all that stuff. But, yeah, we're both still, securely above 500, but it's getting a little sketchy. 28, 22, and 1 for me. 29, 21, and 1 for David.
So I'm ahead.
You're ahead by a game, yes.
Right. Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
It was good. It was like you were ahead early. I took the lead. And now you've taken it back.
But here at this waypoint, at the halfway point in the season, I'm ahead.
You definitely are ahead. Yes.
Okay.
Which
cool.
is good.
Just as long as we all acknowledge that.
Oh, you did. Yeah. And you're still You're still alive in the survivor pool. That means nothing.
Right. Yeah. Well, no, I could get free underwear.
You already get that.
Yeah, but I can get more.
You're not eligible. You're just doing.
I'm ineligible.
Yeah.
Why am I doing this then? Do you know how much effort it takes to remember to pick every week for this show?
Probably more effort. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So why don't we go through, and hopefully you agree with our power rankings, David, because I wasn't really sure what you wanted to do. But we got our number 12 team,
Colorado Buffaloes.
Blessedly, we did not have to watch Colorado football.
Best week of the year for Colorado. Well, The best moment of the year was firing Carl Durrell, but the best weekend of the year.
Well, no, that's part of the cohesive week, right? They fired Carl Durrell.
And then they just kind of chill.
And then they chilled out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interim head coaches, by the way, were undefeated in FBS this past weekend. So
got to feel really good about Stanford's chances against Cal next weekend or this weekend.
You'd think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mike Stanford, you got to keep that going.
Yeah.
But we'll get to all that stuff. Okay, so our number 11 team,
Stanford Cardinal.
they were hosting our number 7 team,
Oregon State Beavers.
Okay, this was the funniest thing all weekend because, all right, this game was terrible. Like, really awful to watch.
Yeah.
Oregon State's Ben Gulbranson, if you look at his statistics, you're going to walk away and say, wow, he played pretty well. He didn't. Really didn't. He's a backup's backup. Like, he should not be asked to play right now. They ran the ball okay, but they were down, what was it? 14 points heading into the fourth quarter. And then I don't have the words to describe what happened to Stanford on that last touchdown. Gulbranson threw a ball that I would say 60% of the time is picked off. But instead, the Oregon State receiver reached out over the Stanford DB, plucked it away from his helmet, had a safety behind him who should have tackled him, but the safety was so stunned by this event that happened in front of him, and I think didn't even realize that the receiver had the ball, that he just sort of let him run past him, and then he runs all the way to the end zone for the touchdown.
Yeah.
And
I have a picture of that after the catch we have up there if you're watching on YouTube.
Yeah, it was one of the most so I have a little sick pleasure in watching this because I watched Stanford receivers make very similar plays to against UCLA during the long run of Stanford dominance over UCLA. So I took a little sick pleasure in it. But that was one of the grossest things I've ever seen happen to a team. Stanford actually, I won't say they played well. Nobody played well in this game, but they probably played their best game of the season.
Yeah.
Best game against an FBS opponent this season. Tanner McKee, for once, seemed to have enough time to look comfortable-ish in this offense. They're still doing that slow mesh thing. It still looks god-awful, but they were actually able to generate some yardage. And Oregon State really struggled to move the ball for a long stretch of this game. It's just Stanford's cursed, man. Until they get David Shaw out of there, they're done.
Whoa. Like, watching this late game, knowing that we were tied, so I'm thinking about the spread. Well, Oregon State was favored by 7. So the best shot I had was tie the game, win in overtime, which seemed very plausible. Like, if Oregon State came back and tied the game, I think they were going to win, like, by 7 in overtime. And at least you get a push, and it would have been 2-2 and 1 for the week. Oregon State scored 18 points in the fourth quarter. First touchdown to cut it. Their long snapper got a cut on his hand or something, so they go for 2 and don't get it. You know how many Jack Coletto runs were in that go for 2 chance?
How many?
None.
Oh.
Yeah. So now they're down by 8. Come back, score again. Okay, got to go for 2 again. Obviously, you're going to hand the ball off to Jack Coletto, right? Like that's,
correct.
Yeah, or just let him wildcat or whatever. No, doesn't happen. Now you're down by 2, and I know I'm screwed. Like, there's no way I can win. So now I'm only hoping for some way that Oregon State can pull off a miracle win. Stanford ends up kicking a field goal. You know, I think they were like reluctant to offense in the fourth quarter. They were just sort of going to wait, let the clock run out because, that's not something David Shaw's ever done before, right? He's never just like taken his foot off the gas and waiting for time to expire.
Certainly not.
End up kicking a field goal, and Oregon State gets the ball back. That play you're talking about, 13 seconds left on the clock, like, with a quarterback who may or may not be able to throw the ball through a doorway, like throws like
from 10 yards away.
Like literally the last play of the college football weekend was like the best play of the college football weekend, where nobody's watching, everyone's in bed. It's the best play of the entire weekend, and pulling it off the Stanford defender's like face mask. Another defender's there and like basically doesn't want to hit his own guy, so he's like I'm not going to get involved, and it's like and then you see this just running by yourself. Well, the only thing you could do is give up a touchdown because you're down by 5 now. They're down by 5. Like a field goal doesn't help. And boom, touchdown Oregon State. You score 18 points and game over. And the few Stanford fans that were there were sort of like, they should have been, I mean, they were kind of dumbfounded, but I think they should have been more. So like, it just sort of was just like, yeah, it was like the inevitable shit happens, like, I thought we were going to win. I thought we'd beat a FBS team for the first time in 10 tries. Nope, make it 11.
Guess we didn't. Oh, no.
Like, literally.
Let's go have some brie.
Yeah, like, there should have been a lot more, like, surrender cobras and stuff up there. It just, I mean, they looked like, but it was sort of like disbelief, but believable disbelief, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, just sort of like, oh, okay, I guess that happened again.
Yeah, like, one of those things. Yeah, of course we should have won, but did I expect to win? No. Like,
sometimes you get your still beating heart ripped out. It's okay.
It was just like unbelievable. Yeah, I don't know, but poor Stanford. Like I said, like if you just want to try to find ways to fire David Shaw, like this is got to be up there.
They're 1-4 now. And I mean, all right, let's just take a look at Stanford again. Let's just go future schedule.
Okay.
Notre Dame, they're going to get like smeared into a grease stain. They've got a chance to beat ASU at home. Going to get absolutely murder stomped.
How are they going to beat ASU at home? By the way,
they could. I'm saying they could. I'm not saying they will.
ASU played a walk-on quarterback and beat Washington.
I know. Washington's got some issues right now. They're going to get crushed by UCLA on the road. They have to play Washington State at home. They're going to lose that game. They're going to lose at Utah. I see no reason why they won't lose at Cal. And then they get BYU at home. They'll probably lose that one too. So one win, like maybe if you take all the last 5 games in aggregate, they have a chance in one of them. But 3-9 at most.
Which I think I predicted 2-10 for the Cardinal this year.
I think I did the same.
I mean, maybe like the question is, can they take over Colorado's the 12th spot? Like we've seen interim head coaches kind of do well. I just don't know if that's going to be the case here. But by the way, thanks to everyone for watching. I think we got like 47 people watching on YouTube right now. Hit that like button. Smash that like button, people. Let us see that
Smash
you
it.
like this. Smash.
Right now it's got 4. I want to see it at 10 in the next 30 seconds.
Smash.
Do you understand me?
Yeah. Smash the like button.
And there's a little bit of a delay, so I'm expecting it in 45 seconds.
Yeah. Matthew says Stanford hasn't won an FBS game in what, 2 years? Yeah. So it's 11 straight losses to FBS programs.
Yeah.
So,
an impressive string of anti-dominance.
Yes. Like as bad as you
dominant losing.
Like you were this bad last year and you didn't make a single change to your coaching staff. You ran an offense that you've never run before. Which, to be fair, like the offense looked a little bit better for a while, right? Like Oregon State's just not looking good when they're not in Corvallis.
But they found a way to win. I mean, that it was an absurd way to win, but they did find a way. And, if they can get the quarterback position figured out, which I'm pretty confident Jonathan Smith's going to get competent play out of it. They're 4-2 right now. Given what they've had to experience with Chance Nolan deciding to throw like 6 picks and then Ben Gobranson coming in and looking like he should also throw 6 picks, not too bad.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go to our next game. We have our number 10 team,
Arizona State Sun Devils.
And they were hosting our number 5 team,
Washington Huskies.
Yeah. Did UCLA break Penix?
I think so. Oh my gosh. Ever since, to be fair, ever since I
bought the shirt,
and the picture of you, glorious beard, by the way, on Twitter, holding up the shirt, which basically was like an F you to everyone that was complaining about you were saying this and he's not going to like it and stuff. Like he made the shirt, dude. Like I literally bought the shirt he made. I'm giving him money for the thing, the joke, the bit that I like. I paid money for it, and it's going to the kid. So F off, everybody.
Yeah, people
That's what
don't-
you're saying.
people
But
don't
he's been terrible since then.
I know he has been, and it's really sad because I might have to stop doing the bit because it's one thing to make fun of somebody who's good. Like we made fun of Jake Browning for so many years.
Yeah.
It's like he's really good. Like he's playing for a really good team. He's just got a noodle for an arm. But like if he keeps playing like this, I can't keep doing name jokes at him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not really.
Like I can do it at coaches who are bad. Like that's fine. But like name joking a guy who's like struggling out there, that's no fun. That's nobody's idea of a good time.
Yeah, we'll get to the game in a second. But like even that, the Hail Mary,
Yeah.
it looked like you were throwing lefty, but you should have been throwing righty or something. It just kind of didn't make it.
It
It
doesn't
was-
look good. I don't know if he's banged up or something too.
Yeah.
It doesn't look the same. Anyway, ASU beat him. And despite Emory Jones going out, Trenton Bourget? What are we going? Bourget. He's maybe should have been starting before this game.
Maybe.
Emory Jones hasn't been good at all this year.
No.
This guy could actually throw the ball a little bit. Valladay was great. Washington racked up a ton of yardage. I think, this was, a close enough game. It could have gone either way, but at no point did this feel like Washington was a deserved 14-point favorite over ASU. I mean, they were down big at one point. ASU just controlled this thing offensively and just kept Washington at arm's length more or less the whole way and then pulled it out in the end.
Yeah, that was kind of brief, but go ahead. I would say you looked at this game early on, and we both we got this one wrong. We had Washington trying to win by 14. It was 10-3 Washington early. You're like, all right, they're just going to kind of roll, and Arizona State did not roll over. Targeting call knocked out Emory Jones, and you're like, okay, that's probably a bad thing for Arizona State. Nope, it was like it gave Arizona State a spark. Penix had that pick six it came off the lineman's like helmet, like he threw the ball.
It bounced off his helmet at such an angle, at such a perfect angle, that the ASU defender was able to get a full head of steam catching the ball and sprinting towards the end zone.
Yeah.
Like there's no one that could have made a play on that besides that ASU defender. It was the most unlucky place for that pick to fall.
Yeah.
Incredible.
It was like skipping a rock off of a lake or something, like you just like, pshoo, and it went up in the air like, oh. So that was like kind of really weird. Arizona State was up the whole game at that point. Like they took the lead, they got the, Bourget comes in and, but Washington came back and tied it with like 38, basically using the run game. It wasn't as much in the passing game. And then, Trenton Bourget's from Tucson, by the way. I don't know if you knew that. 3 touchdowns. He was 15 of 21, and he had that game-winning touchdown pass after Washington tied it. And if you watched afterwards, the locker room was like really emotional. You have Bourget, you have Shaun Aguano, like they gave Aguano the game ball, and the interim coach getting his first win. It was just a cool environment in that locker room to get that win. The players had heard everything about Herm and the NCAA stuff. To get a win like that over a ranked team, it's a real big deal. And you forget sometimes it's like these are college kids. Like props to everyone in that locker room. They're thin in spots. There's all kinds of problems. A lot of guys left. To hold it together and beat a team like Washington, probably like not as good as we thought they would be, but still, that's a huge win there. Arizona State was really good on third down. It was like 9 of 13 or something like that. And your boy Penix, like he took a big shot in that one, came back in the game. That was the other thing. Like when he threw that Hail Mary, he had already been sort of knocked out of the game and came back in. He was really emotional after the game too, and was talking about like, I'm going to practice this week. I'm going to play. He seems like a warrior, but holy cow, like, I don't know if he's going to be able to go this week. We'll see. He just looked like he got hit pretty hard. And then, afterwards it was kind of like questionable.
Yeah, he got roughed up.
But big win. Arizona State, we still have them 10th. I don't know where they have a chance to move up, but this was kind of an unexpected win, but, big win.
We are never going to pick an ASU game correctly ever again.
We've been bad.
We've been really bad on ASU.
Yeah. I think, let me pull up there.
We've only gotten one correct.
So if you're looking at, we got the one correct. You actually preseason picked Arizona State to win this game.
I know, and that's the thing is if I stuck with my preseason picks, I think I'd be doing even better than I am right now.
Yeah, there's another one where you got it wrong, like preseason, but this was an interesting preseason one for you. So props to that.
So right now, by the way,
yes,
for UCLA, I had them beating Bowling Green. I had them beating Alabama State. I had them beating South Alabama. I had them beating Washington. And I had them – oh, no, I did have them losing to Utah. Okay, never mind. I didn't have them right.
No, you didn't have that one right. There was another one too. Let's see. Yeah, I'm putting up some of these comments.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Cool. Yeah, well, I'm trying – you got to do all this stuff, and I got to host things.
Yeah.
So our number 9 team.
Arizona Wildcats.
A little bit of bitterness from you there, I heard.
Yeah, they were hosting our number 3 team.
Oregon Ducks.
As the great Steve Lavin once said, don't get better. Don't get bitter. Get better. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oregon crushed the absolute life out of Arizona. Did we both get this one right?
We both got it right.
Okay.
This was like our right, like no question.
Yeah, this was
Look away shot.
So there's that phrase that people like to use, the styles make fights. Styles also make murder stomps. And Oregon's running game versus Arizona's run defense was always going to be a nightmare for the Wildcats, and it was. So Oregon finished averaging 7.5 yards a carry. They ran the ball 41 times for 306 yards and 7 touchdowns. If they had never thrown the ball, not once in this game, they would have won it by 3 scores. There was no way Arizona, with what they've shown on run defense, was going to contend. It was a close enough game in the first quarter, but you could already feel it at that point. Like it was way too easy for Oregon to move the ball. Jaden DeLora, I would also say, played his. Yeah, it seems like it oscillates from game to game, whether he's like lights out and awesome or he's making mistakes and overthrowing balls. And he's got that kind of. He gets too amped up for games, and I think he was too amped up for this one. Like on the early drives when they maybe still had a chance to control the way the game was going to be played, he like overthrew 2 receivers and just didn't look right. His feet weren't set. He looked like he was feeling the pass rush, but he also just looked too energized. And you got to have calmness from your quarterback, especially in those stages. But Oregon just beat the hell out of them. I mean, I think Oregon. We've been semi down on Oregon because of the 49-3 loss to Georgia in the opener.
That did happen.
But since then they've been pretty much lights out.
They're very good.
And this game was pretty much lights out. I think there's still some leakiness potentially defensively. But, I think every single one of the top teams in the Pac-12 this year, they're all leaky defensively. What they all have, though, are elite offenses, and I think Oregon is very elite offensively.
They're very good. It's funny. Bo Nix, we thought Bo Nix would be the roller coaster, and, DeLora is definitely more of the roller coaster guy. I know he's not on as good as a team as Nix, and, bouncing back from that 46-point beatdown, which happened, that's a legit thing. We've seen teams, Georgia struggled with other people, but coming out of the gate, Georgia was on fire. Unfortunate that Oregon really wasn't. It would have been great. Maybe if they played in week 3, it would have been a closer game that Georgia wins. And there's that caveat. Like if Oregon goes on and wins the Pac-12, you still got that 49 burger you gave up to Georgia that people are going to look at we're going to put the 2-loss SEC team in instead of the 1-loss Pac-12 team in. But yeah, it was the first sellout for Arizona. So this was a home game for Arizona. First sellout since 2015. Nix, you mentioned, he had 3 touchdowns, not throwing, on the ground.
Yeah, no, he maybe gets to reclaim his name. He might be Bo Nix again.
He's Bo Nix.
He's no longer No Bix.
3 rushing touchdowns for him. Jaden DeLora, he had to throw that ball. So the ball, him putting his arm back, ball leaving his hand. 42 times in this game. That's a lot. That's a lot you got to do. 241 yards on those attempts. So that's not a very efficient day throwing the football. I thought Oregon's offensive line, they played really well. You get obviously when the run game's going like that. And the defense played well for Oregon. They were they look very active. I mean, just early on, you just were like, there's a lot of stars on defense. We just weren't really seeing it. Seemed to come together.
Again, but they look better because Arizona had to go one-dimensional very early.
Yeah.
When it's 28-13 and then they pour on 21 more in the third quarter, you're throwing all the time.
Yeah.
So there's caveats with the Oregon defensive performance. There's still some leakiness. I mean, when Arizona was able to run the ball, they were actually running it okay.
Yeah, and I think Oregon's secondary is not great, but they were limiting what Delora could do. I think it was 5.7 yards per attempt. But there's other passing games that are going to probably give that Oregon secondary some problems. But thought the front seven played well.
Fine.
Yeah. Okay. So that was what we had Arizona. Our number 8 team is, where are they?
California Golden Bears.
Didn't have to watch that snooze fest this week.
No. It's so funny. Like, you get the 49 points one week, the 9 points the next. Bye week. See what we got.
And then you get right against Colorado's defense.
Boom. Okay, so our number 7 team we already talked about. Our number 6 team,
Washington State Cougars.
Sorry, you get the meow. And then our number 2 team,
USC Trojans.
Yeah, I thought overall, so USC won 30-14. I thought it was another kind of underwhelming performance from USC. I think defensively, it's a little bit deceptive because if you watch this game, so first I would say Cam Ward wasn't good. He was under fire a lot, and so, but the thing that I'm actually realizing, contextualizing it with UCLA, is so much of being under fire as a quarterback has to do with you and not necessarily with your offensive line. He's processing things really slowly. There was at one point in this game in the second half where it looked like he was running the slow mesh because it was just happening so slowly in the pocket. And so he was under fire a lot. He's taken 20 sacks this year now. And I think that is holding the offense back. Also, when he wasn't processing slowly and he was getting the ball to his receivers, there were 3 or 4 just out and out pure drops by guys in the receiving core for Washington State. So I think there were some caveats, but I do think USC's defense played pretty well. I don't think it was a great performance, but I do think they played pretty well.
It's funny that Cameron Ward has uber patience. He was in the end zone on one play, and it ended up being like a pitch. Everything is slow. He takes his time. When you're in the end zone like that, I give him credit for that because it's he was in the end zone and sort of waiting to see what's happening. Slow pitch out, and the guy gets out of the end zone and doesn't get saved. But you're playing around in your own end zone. He has uber patience.
Well, it's too much.
Yeah,
and I think it comes down to slowness. I think it's he's not yet, and maybe he'll get there. I mean, I think what is he? Is he a super sophomore? What is he?
I forget what he is.
Something like that. Anyway, maybe he'll get there. Processing time speeds up as you get older as a quarterback, but it's not there yet. And I think that leads to a bunch of the sacks he's taking. I know the offensive line has some issues, but I think that's a big part of it. And then offensively for USC, and I know this is rated as one of the better defenses in the league, they should still be blowing them away to a much greater extent than they were. USC's receiving core, speaking of drops, there were a number of them by the receiving core. Caleb Williams still doesn't look quite as sharp as he was looking at the start of the season. I think, again, and this game I thought they did a much better job of it. This running game, basically every week, has produced, and Travis Dye is looking like every bit the guy who should have been starting over C.J. Verdell for many years at Oregon. He's really good. Just hand him the ball and let him do some work. They were able to control the game on the ground. 40 carries for 181 yards, kind of workmanlike, but they did it. But still, not what I was thinking. This didn't feel like a game they even should have covered. They did, but with the way both teams are playing, it was actually pretty even for most of this game. And then USC, ended up putting it away in the end.
Yeah, I would say in this one, USC's offense hasn't been, the run game has been good. Travis Dye, 28 carries, 149 yards, touchdown. He was a stud. They kind of got away from it. I feel like they were trying to force Caleb Williams into being more comfortable. Now, the offensive line is banged up. They had a third-string left tackle in for a little bit.
Put my comment up there.
Where's your comment? No. Okay.
You see it?
Yeah,
You see it?
it's up there. Yeah.
Okay, good.
So you were responding to the other comment. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, the passing game was a little clunky. Like he would miss a receiver or the receiver would drop the ball. They could rely on the run game though, for sure. And then when if you look at the defensive side where you were talking about, they gave up 2 touchdown drives that were like back to back. One of them was when their best defender, Kalen Bullock, goes out for a targeting. There were 2 targetings in this one that were like, I don't think anyone was trying to do helmet to helmet contact, but just whatever they happened to call it.
Can we break down the targeting on the Cam Ward scramble where the offensive tackle, was it a guard or a tackle?
I think it was a guard.
Offensive guard gets called for first a blindside hit, which was if a guy is facing you, if he's facing you when you hit him and you can hit him in the face mask, guess what? It's not a blindside.
There was a lot of referee problems.
The referee. So there was that offensive PI on Jordan Addison in the end zone that was horrible.
Yeah.
Then there was the PI that they called on Wazoo that was horrible on that same drive.
Yeah.
And I want to say, what was the other? There was like another phantom call on that same drive.
There were the 2 targeting things were just sort of like what, and then you're ejecting players. There was one where I think that it might have been that targeting call, or there was another one where it was like a 3rd down play and they redid the 3rd down, but then the referee announced a 2nd down, and then they didn't take the yardage off. Like there was all this stuff. They were just like the referees were dominating the game.
Yeah,
and it was just like
There
this
was
is
a
the Pac-12. This is why you don't like the Pac-12. Like.
There was a lot of that across the slate of games this weekend. I thought this was the weekend where it looked like the refs were just, oh, no, we got to get some FaceTime this weekend. But this game was egregious. I mean, it was significantly worse than the other ones. And what did we finish with? Yeah, Wazoo finished with 11 penalties for 106 yards.
Yeah.
And watching it, I was like, they're not playing sloppy. Like they're playing pretty good defense. It shouldn't be that. And USC had 5 for 50. I would probably have taken away that Jordan Addison offensive PI, but otherwise, okay. But it's still just like, we don't need to see that.
Yeah, the referees were dominating.
In a really competitive game, there shouldn't be 106 yards of penalties for one team.
Yeah. There's a lot of it. And then, getting having to review, or even there was penalties that were declined because, there's just too much crap in this game. But I don't want you to poo-poo the USC defense. People say, oh, the first and turnovers. No turnovers in this game on either side. They gave up the 2 touchdown drives in a row, completely shut out Washington State in the second half, 49 passing yards for Ward in the second half. This is the number 1 scoring defense in the Pac-12 right now, David. Did you know that? The number 1 scoring defense.
Who have they played?
Washington State.
What top offenses have they played?
I mean, Oregon State was good when they played them. Washington State.
How many interceptions did Chance Nolan throw in that game?
He threw 4.
I think he was throwing even more.
Yeah.
So they played Fresno State. Jay Kaner got destroyed in like the first quarter.
No, it wasn't the first quarter. It was in the second half, and then the backup comes in and was like 11 for 12. Like it's
Oh man,
they've been terrible.
You allowed a backup quarterback who lost to friggin'
Right.
UConn to.
They
go
have the
11
number
and
1
12?
scoring defense in the Pac-12.
Okay.
The best turnover margin.
All right.
I'm just saying,
I'm excited to watch this weekend against Utah.
Yeah. So okay. All right. Let's see. We talked about.
What is that noise?
There's someone like drilling or something here. At least it's not airplanes.
It's like
flying.
the moaning of a giant who just got like an enema.
Yeah. We already talked about Washington. Okay, our number 4 team.
Utah Utes.
They had to go to the Rose Bowl to take on our now new number 1 team. This team was like, we had like 9 like a couple weeks ago.
Number 1 with a bullet.
Number 1.
UCLA Bruins.
UCLA beat that ass. No offense to our Utah friends. Better luck next year. 42-32, UCLA back on top of college football. They're pursuing and going to destroy and defeat the ghosts of 1998. They're going to be number 1 when the first CFP rankings are released at the end of this month.
Oh.
They're going to be riding high. 15-0, baby. Yeah, so UCLA beat Utah 42-32. The reason it's 42-32 is because Dorian Thompson-Robinson, in an effort to humble himself, threw a pick 6 to close the game out. He just, he's a man of the people. It's sort of like, You know when the ancient Roman emperors would have their triumphs after their great victories on the field of battle? They would come back to Rome. Or the generals would have their triumphs, and then they would have somebody whispering in their ear, glory is fleeting. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, he can do that to himself. He threw that pick six simply to humble himself. Because right now, he's basically like... he's like a Caesar. He's like a Cincinnatus. He's out there just dominating everyone, treating everyone like they're just hordes of Franks or Gauls, and it's frankly breathtaking to watch. He should be leading all Heisman votes. You have a Heisman vote. You should be voting for him tomorrow.
What? We don't vote tomorrow.
No, just put it in. Put it in. He's thrown 15 touchdowns, 2 interceptions this year. This game, he had 5 incompletions in this game. I can recount them for you. 2 hit Jake Bobo in the hands. 1 hit Michael Ezeki in the hands. 1 was a throwaway, and the other one was a gift to Utah to humble himself.
So that was completed.
Yeah, it was completed, and it hit Clark Phillips in the hands. Let me tell you about that. Zach Charbonnet was really good. I would say UCLA, generally speaking, was pretty lights out offensively after the first 2 drives. And then Utah, what it was, so they were able to move the ball. And if you look at the total stats for this game, it's a little bit deceptive because Utah was able to move the ball. It's just UCLA was playing bend but don't break pretty damn well. They were tackling really well in the back line. So every time Utah was driving, it would take 8 to 11 plays to get down there and score. Whereas UCLA, like they were scoring like, oh, here's a 70-yard touchdown. Here's 49 yards for Zach Charbonnet. Here's 44 yards. It was just a battle of explosive plays. And UCLA came out way ahead. Explosive plays have been a problem for Utah more or less all season. I think without Keithy as a downfield threat, and it's weird to say your tight end is your downfield threat, but without him there, Utah lacks a little bit when it comes to explosive plays. I liked a lot of what they did, though. I thought Tavion Thomas was really good. For maybe the first time this year, I thought he was really good. Looks like he's come all the way back from some of the off-field stuff going on. And Cam Rising is a beast with his legs. He almost single-handedly got him back into this one. It was 28-25 at one point. UCLA squandered an opportunity at the Utah 3 towards the end of the first half, and then had the pick six late. But Utah was in striking distance at different points. It just couldn't force a stop. If Utah had been able to force a single stop in the second half, this game might change complexion entirely. They just weren't able to do it, and I think it's a testament to UCLA's offense. I don't think Utah's defense is bad. I think they're not as good as they've been in recent years, but I still think they're pretty good. I think they're one of the top probably 3 defenses in the league. UCLA's offense is just playing at that level right now.
The response, because Utah would, Utah's a good team. And when they would score, the most impressive thing was just UCLA would respond. It was basically like, oh, Utah, you have a little momentum. And you're like, nope, we're going to push you back. We're going to put some more points up. And now you got to do it all over again. And I think it can be a little demoralizing sometimes. So that was great. I mean, the way UCLA was, moving the ball, Zach Charbonnet, he almost had 200 yards. So efficient for DTR. I mean, he was making things. I think the compliment, like when you were talking about like USC's offense early in the season, things were looking easy. They don't look as easy right now the way they're playing. With UCLA, they go through the preseason, where you're not playing all your starters. Things are looking easy. Like it just looks like things are working the way they should. And when you do that in college, and this is a good, or we thought good Utah defense. We'll see this week, if they can bounce back. But the fact that UCLA was making it easy, when you have wide open wide receivers, that helps DTR for sure, and it helps those efficiency numbers. Rising had a couple of really nice, running touchdowns, but that fumble was a brutal one. But when you're asked to do that much, it's tough. If you got to rely on your quarterback's legs, because that's going to be a lot of your offense. I don't know if you know, the Bruins are 11-0 when Zach Charbonnet goes over 100 yards. So they get him going. It's hard for the Bruins and Chip Kelly to lose. And we got to talk extension, right? We have to. So when do you get the point when UCLA's winning? Aren't you happy that Chip Kelly's there? Is the joke go away now?
So here's the thing, and I'll give you the true and honest thing, which is, one, I am pretty unhappy with the wasted first 3 years, 2.5 years of the Chip Kelly tenure, right?
Yeah.
We get finite years on Earth, right? Wasting a couple of them just so you can build a program in the wrong way and then you get bailed out by the transfer portal. That sucks. It wasn't fun. It was not an enjoyable experience. I didn't like it. However, if they have a really good year this year, yeah, I'm going to be leading the bandwagon. I don't care. I have no dog in the fight, really, from like a I need to be right perspective. I'm very comfortable being wrong. All of you people out there know I'm very comfortable being wrong.
I mean,
I'm
you have a lot of
almost
experience.
I'm almost always wrong on this
The
show.
experience you have is invaluable.
Totally fine.
Yeah.
But like now, they're really good. What am I going to do? Sit here and say they're not? No, and it's fun. It's enjoyable to watch. The offense is gangbusters, and the defense is, not great, but it's got a pulse. In the same way that Oregon and USC, the defenses aren't great, but they all have a pulse.
Yeah.
Like they all can make plays happen. They all can do some things pretty well.
They have like an identity that they do like some things that they'll do well. You're going to get gashed here or there, but there's things you're going to do well, like you can rely on.
It's not going to be like one of those teams, like some, I don't know, Sonny Dykes Cal team where they just can't do anything defensively. Like they all, like UCLA, if you let them mess around too much, they're going to get some big sacks because their defensive ends are really good.
Yeah.
USC, if you let them mess around too much, that athleticism in the secondary is going to take over. They're going to catch some picks. They're going to do some things. So there's just, there's a lot of, quality, I think, to those defenses, even if it's not necessarily the most efficient defenses.
No G on there says the first 3 years were preseason. Do you like that?
No.
Good.
No, we're never getting that time back, guys. Ever. We're never getting it back. And it was brutal. But I mean, if they suddenly start winning, am I going to belabor those 2.5 years? Probably still for a little while, but not forever.
Nice. I lost my questions for some reason. Okay, so that's our recap. Oh, we didn't do our
Pac-12 Roundup.
Since we got the board here, we got to do the Pac-12. That was it. Awesome. So let's go through. We're going to preview all of our games for week 7. So this week, we have buys for what's it?
UCLA, Oregon, and Arizona State.
Arizona State's on a bye too. Okay, so I missed that one. All right, so
I added it for you.
Thank you.
But
Did you actually do something?
Yeah, that's right.
So okay, so we got.
I copy edited your doc, and I just get ridiculed constantly. Yeah,
that's good. So 5 more games this week, and this is gonna be a lot of fun. Let's go to our first game. We've got
California Golden Bears.
Off a bye, taking on
Colorado Buffaloes.
Also off a bye.
11 a.m. on the Pac-12 network. Cal at Colorado. Cal's 3-2. Colorado is 0-5. Cal's a 15-point favorite, so we're starting to test my willingness to go with my guns on Colorado because 15-point road favorite Cal just doesn't sound right. Like that does not sound good. I'm taking Cal minus 15.
I've thought, okay, so the good part is I thought about taking Colorado. Like, whenever
It's at the point where I am thinking about it, yes.
Which weren't before.
Correct.
Both teams coming off a bye.
Mm-hmm.
Cal, 49 points, 9 points. This is... We've seen interim head coaches get a jump. It took Arizona State a week. They just laid an egg the first week. And then they played well against USC and lost. Then they won, so built something there. Can you do that at Colorado? I don't know if Mike Sanford's going to be someone that they rally around. I mean, he's new, he's not.
He's also not good.
Well, he was fired the year before from Minnesota.
He's one of the worst head coaches in Western Kentucky history.
I'm taking Cal. Don't really love going on the road.
Don't love 15 points at all, but I gotta do it. Got to do it.
Yeah, I don't think we have a choice.
Until Colorado beats a spread, I cannot pick them to beat a spread.
Right. I think that's, you said they were inching closer towards the spread. They were within 1 score of the spread.
I'll say this. I won't be surprised if they cover this week. This is the first week where I will not be surprised if they cover.
And, Cal's got a range. They could be pretty good and they could really suck ass, right? So there's a range there. And Colorado their range is very low, but they could pump up, with the interim head coach for whatever reason after the bye. I mean, who knows? Like there's a lot of swing in this one, but you feel safer just not being on Colorado, hoping Colorado swings up.
Absolutely.
It could happen, but I don't want to be banking on that or just
no. We don't bet on Colorado anymore.
No. Okay. Next up, we've got
Arizona Wildcats.
On the road taking on
Washington Huskies.
2:30 on the Pac-12 network, coming right after Cal and Colorado. Arizona 3-3 taking on Washington 4-2 in Seattle. Washington is a 15.5-point favorite, which feels crazy. Here's what Arizona's done this year. They played great against San Diego State, played like big ass against Mississippi State, played great against North Dakota State, played like big ass against California, played great against Colorado, played like big ass against Oregon, playing great against Washington.
I think so.
I'm taking Arizona plus 15.5. I think this is a better matchup for Arizona than Oregon was, even if you take away the talent differential.
Yeah.
Washington isn't a great running offense. That's Arizona's great weakness defensively. Michael Penix is not playing well of late, so he's not going to be able to take advantage, I think, as much of the Arizona secondary. And Arizona's offense, that pass-oriented attack, should find some favorable matchups in that Washington secondary. I like Arizona to cover at least.
I do too, and I'm not sure if Penix is going to be healthy for the game. I think Arizona can play well on the road. Keep it close. Like if this was 13, I maybe go, but to be more than 2 scores, Washington's got to be on, and Arizona's kind of have to be like a little butt. And I don't think they're going to be I think they'll be a feisty team on the road. Could they go up to Seattle and just lay an egg? Yeah, this was a 1-11 team from last year, but I just think it's going to be closer. Washington's sort of licking their wounds. Sometimes you go back home and you play really well, but the way the things kind of ended in the desert, I'm going to take these points here. It's just a lot for an Arizona team that I think has closed the talent gap a little bit. And like you said, the matchup with Washington, I think, is better than the one against Oregon.
Yeah.
All right. Our one out of conference game this week. People have been asking you to do the sound effects. You're going to a chance to do one here. We've got our beloved, our very own
Stanford Cardinal.
On the road, taking on
the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Get your hands off me, pot of gold! I don't know what that was. It wasn't Irish. 4:30 p.m. on NBC. Stanford going to Notre Dame. Notre Dame's a 16.5-point favorite. I'm taking Notre Dame. How's Notre Dame been looking? Let's see.
They got a lot better.
Sight unseen, I'm taking them. They only beat BYU by 8 at home. Beat North Carolina by 13 on the road. That Cal game. Have they gotten a lot better? I don't know about this. I'm still taking them because Stanford's butt, but they haven't really beaten anybody by that many points.
They were close against Ohio State early on. Ohio State's worst game was their 11-point win against Notre Dame.
I feel like they're going to sack Tanner McKee about 9 times.
That's the thing. I feel like you're going to take advantage of some of the stuff that, for Stanford. We have to understand Stanford is not good. They are not good. They played a little bit better against Oregon State. That was at home. They're going to be on the road. You can be able to bounce back from that heartbreaking loss. I hate this amount of points, but in a Notre Dame team, they might just get up by 10 and sort of stay there. And you could see that happening but I think this is a double-digit win for Notre Dame. I don't know if it's going to be a piling on win, and that's what you might need to cover the spread.
You're taking Stanford?
No, I'm taking Notre Dame. I'm taking Notre Dame. No, it's good. They're going to win by double digits, but it could be a comfortable, just we're not going to pile on double digits.
I like that we get the extra half point for the 17-point win because that feels where it is.
17, yeah, okay. So, all right, we'll take that one. Okay, next up, are they the only ranked? These are only the ranked games. Okay. The highlight game of the weekend. We got number 7.
USC Trojans.
On the road, taking on
Utah Utes.
5 p.m. on Big Fox, number 7 USC at number 20 Utah. Utah's a 3.5-point favorite. Give me the Utes, obviously. But okay. When was the last time USC won in Salt Lake City? You got that anywhere?
I don't. No, I don't happen to have it up like as you asked me the question.
All right. So USC lost in 2020. USC. Oh wait, no. Hang on. No, USC won in 2020.
Yes.
Look at that. Hell yeah, baby.
I think I was there.
Damn, were you?
I think so.
Who knows?
I forget when I'm there.
Before that, 2018 got their ass beat. 2016 got their ass beat. 2014 got their ass beat. And I'm saying got their ass beat. They lost by 3, I think, each time.
Right. Okay.
Let's see.
Those were Clay Helton teams. This is Lincoln Riley teams.
Hey, 2012. 2012, USC won. All right, so basically the COVID year was the one time USC won this in the last decade. I think so. Utah. My big takeaway from the UCLA game is that they're still a very good team. I think their offense can take advantage of sometimes undisciplined defenses. I think Cam Rising's really good. I think their receiving game is still really good even without Keithy. Kincaid's a really tough cover. UCLA covered him well, and he still caught everything. I think Utah is going to be able to score a lot of points on USC. And then the question is whether USC can keep up. And I don't know. A lot of opinions, including my own, were formed about USC's offense through the first 3 games of the season. Last couple have not been those, have not looked that way. And even if you go back and reevaluate the first few games, second halves have been a little bit. Are they really trying to dial back, or is the offense a little inconsistent? And that's the question. I think Travis Dye is going to be able to have a good game. I think they're going to be able to run the ball, but I don't know about that passing attack versus the Utah secondary. So I like Utah to actually win this one by like 10.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to take SC.
Utah's going to beat that ass. Boone. There you go.
USC's 4-2 against the spread. They're getting points for the first time. More than a field goal. I'm definitely taking USC. I could see USC going in there and laying an egg and Utah winning by 10 points. I could definitely see something like that happen. I think it's more likely. They've showed a lot of resilience to just be in the game and figure out a way to win at the end. They did have no right winning that Oregon State game, but they do what they need to do at the end. I just feel like they're going to do that, where even if Caleb Williams isn't on throwing the ball, he takes off and runs, whatever he needs to do. They can rely on Travis Dye in the run game. We'll see how healthy they are. Jordan Addison got banged up a little bit in that one. But it was, to see Mario Williams kind of play the way he did, have a couple of huge drops and then 2 great touchdown catches. They got the weapons. They're not clicking on all cylinders. It's a flawed team for sure. But at the end of the day, like, they hold people to, 14 points, 17 points. They give up some big gash plays that, like, oh, wow, that looks bad. We have USC fans just complaining about the defense, and like, they are literally the number 1 scoring defense in the Pac-12.
I'll be surprised if they hold Utah under 30.
I think they will. We'll see. Now, USC hasn't turned the ball over at all. They did 1 turnover all year. They could turn the ball over a couple times in Salt Lake City. It's going to be a tough place to play. But yeah, I think just because you're getting that many points, I'll take USC, knowing they could go in there and completely lay an egg. All right, we got one last game. So that's the only one we picked differently so far. Last game we've got
Washington State Cougars
on the road taking on
Oregon State Beavers.
I have zero feel for this game.
I mean, the fact that it's in Corvallis, where
Oregon State's a lot better.
Yeah,
but
they didn't
they
look
have
good at
who's
all.
their quarterback?
Yeah,
is Nolan going to be back? Is it Gulbranson going forward?
And like when I picked this game,
is Nolan any good right now?
I picked Oregon State last week, not knowing that Nolan wasn't going to play. You're like, crap. Well, now we I don't know.
I think I'm going to pick Oregon State just because of the home thing, and I think but I don't know. Washington State hasn't really impressed me. A lot of people are walking away impressed by that defense, and I think it's pretty good. But it's not like it's not even as good as that Washington State defense that Grinch had, 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah,
it's fine. It's decent enough. And I think Oregon State can scheme some offense. the thing is, I think Oregon State wins this by 3. I think that's what it's going to be. I think it's going to be like 27-24. So, yeah, anyway, give me Oregon State.
So last year, this was Oregon State. Where was that one? That I kind of remember something about that game last year. Oregon State. So Washington State won 31-24. And I think we both picked Oregon State. And we were wrong on this one. Because I don't know and I'm getting the points, I think I'm going to take Washington State even though it's on the road. Just getting 3 points there. I feel like coin flippy. So field goal, I'll take it. So give me the Cougs. And but no feel whatsoever.
I like how you're comfortable just picking against me to just fall further and further and further behind.
Yeah, well, I get these 2 right, then I move ahead by 1 again, so that's nice.
Yeah, but so here's the thing. On the merits, Washington State should have covered last week. Like, that was a much closer game than 16 points. So, really, you're 0-3. I mean, this is going to be the third loss.
They covered the game.
Yeah, but they shouldn't have, and that's the most important thing to remember.
Well, we also know that Oregon State shouldn't have lost to Stanford like that. So, they should have. They won that game. That should count. Just coming back and winning that game. Yeah.
No, I don't.
So
think so.
Again, it goes the other way. So I would be ahead.
No. I don't think so.
That's exactly how that would go. So
we should actually just go by the Bill Connolly post-game win expectancies and let that be our guide
instead of the actual results.
No longer the actual results, just the win expectancies.
Why would we want results?
Yeah, nobody wants that.
We got people in the chat saying Washington State win and covers. Ward is going to have a breakthrough game this week.
A lot of people very hopeful.
I love it.
Ryan says complete toss-up, but Washington State's offense will most likely really struggle just being in Corvallis.
That's it. I mean, that's a fair point too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Goofy Dave is the greatest. I agree.
Oh, I'll put that one up. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Why don't we take a quick break and we will come back and start answering your questions back in a minute.
Where'd you pick that thing from?
I don't even know. It was, I think, it's, you have royalty-free music. So you can't play stuff that, so you can, I bought like a CD or something way back in the day that had like a bunch of like free drops, free things on it. So you just little riffs or whatever. And, go to town like that way. Let's see. This was from, I think Friday. Okay. So our first one is from Linda. Penix. Hello. I think the intentional mispronunciation of Penix's last name is immature, rude, and uncalled for. Please stop. It lessens the credibility of the podcast. From Linda.
All right. I'll break it down sentence by sentence.
Yeah.
First sentence, absolutely correct.
Yes.
It is immature, rude, and uncalled for.
Very much.
Back half of the thing, sorry, I can't. I'm trying. I'm really trying, but I can't stop.
Well,
nor will I.
I don't think you can lessen the credibility of the podcast, to be fair.
No, we're already basement level.
Yeah. Linda, and we already talked about this, but he is literally selling a shirt that makes fun of the pronunciation of his name, the player himself, Michael Penix.
Mm-hmm. Penix.
Big Penix energy. He's selling a shirt. David bought it. He's embracing it. So I get that you feel that's immature, but the person whose name it is decided to put his name on a shirt selling the fact that it could be pronounced a little differently.
Hey, we can pronounce pronounced. Okay.
Pronounced.
Yeah, we can do it all here on
Yeah.
the POC, including pronounce it Penix.
Yeah.
Equity Bruin asks thoughts on The Rehearsal. So The Rehearsal is a show on HBO. Starring Nathan Fielder. I watched one episode and turned it off and never intend to go back.
So you're a fan?
No. I found it. So it's essentially, I don't know if it's exactly cringe comedy, but it's this sort of deadpan absurdism.
Okay.
But the idea of the show is basically, it's a show within a show almost, or at least that's the impression I'm getting. I have no patience for this kind of thing, but it's essentially he's setting up for these people who are like socially awkward to rehearse social situations before they then go have the social situation. but the rehearsal itself is this absurd, like exact replica of that situation. The initial episode is a guy who wants to rehearse telling people in his trivia group that he is not actually a college graduate, I think it was, or no, not getting his master's.
Okay.
And so they set up an entire like replica of the bar where he's going to tell this one person, and then they get this person to match her personality to that person so that he can rehearse the entire conversation and all derivations of this conversation.
Sounds terrible.
It's really like people have really enjoyed it, I think.
Okay.
I watched one episode and wanted to reclaim my time. I wanted to take it back for me.
Okay.
Because I found it really unenjoyable to watch.
Okay.
So those are my thoughts on the rehearsal.
Never saw it. Don't have HBO. Doesn't sound like something I would like. But Phil on the comments, he said, it's incredible. So many unexpected turns. So we have at least one fan of the rehearsal.
Damn.
Kurt wrote in, Bruins dream result. Going to live in a world where Bruins are on top for the next 2 weeks. Which of the following dream results would best propel UCLA out of the malaise of mediocrity for the future? So he gives 3 scenarios. 1, UCLA makes the playoff and gets pasted by Alabama or Georgia or Ohio State.
Wow, bold pick, Kurt, thinking that Dorian Thompson-Robinson's getting pasted by anybody this year.
Wait, hold on.
Oh.
Okay. UCLA wins the Rose Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
DTR wins the Heisman.
Team stuff over individual accolades, so DTR winning the Heisman is out. The question is whether UCLA makes the playoff or UCLA wins the Rose Bowl, really, for me. And in that, going and making the playoff.
Really?
That gets you more juice.
Because you've experienced a lot of Rose Bowl wins in your lifetime, right? So that's like old hat.
Yeah, I'm going to leap across this table and murder you. I have. I experienced one. Like, think about how regularly UCLA was winning. I experienced one a month and a half after my birth. Let's not talk about when the next one was. It doesn't exist.
If you're, by the way, if you're watching on YouTube, thanks for sticking with us. Put question in there, and we'll try to get to a couple of your questions after the email questions too.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Was that it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going makes the playoff. What do you go with?
I think makes the playoff too. I think it's just UCLA hasn't made the playoff. People ask about USC. I'm like, yeah, try to make the playoff. I don't care if you get pasted. Like, you've never done it before. Make it for once and then try to, build on that from there. But USC's won a bunch of Rose Bowls and UCLA hasn't. So I don't know. So it could be more of a toss up for there.
Jay and NY shared a lovely little thing with me, which is the box score for this past weekend between Illinois and Iowa.
Oh my God.
It
was 9-6.
Finished 9-6. At one point, how many?
There was a drive.
There were in the second half. Ready for this?
Yeah.
It went punt, 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 interception, punt.
Pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
Iowa's their bigger scoring drive was offensively goes backwards, punts, fumble. They get the ball back, go backwards, punts, and then go backward. The fumble again, then kick a field goal after going backwards. Like, it was a scoring drive that went backwards. Like,
if you married Iowa's offense this year to Colorado's defense, you would have the worst team in the history of college football.
Yeah, it's literally like the worst offense you've ever seen.
Yeah,
and
by
nepotism.
contact, they are making every other offense horrible too. Like Illinois, like their passing attack was horrendous in this game.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Jay. I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, very good. I think we got Michael in Seattle next. Hey, Ryan and Dave, I'm usually one for long emails, but I'll try to keep these questions shorter this time. Would love to hear your opinion on how each team would change if they lost their starting quarterback in the next couple of weeks and had to revert to a backup for the remainder of the season. Bo Nix at Oregon, Michael Penix at Washington, DTR at UCLA, Caleb Williams at USC.
Okay.
Which team of those 4 would see the most severe and rapid descent to Stanford level ineptitude? I'm assuming Colorado is in a league of their own at this point.
Okay, so Bo Nix, the backup, is a former 5-star who nobody thinks is good enough to play.
Yeah.
So that's not good. Penix has Dylan Morris behind him, who at least has started games at the college level and has looked okay. And I think he'd look better in this offense than he did in anything that Jimmy Lake or whoever was running before. Ethan Garbers has started a game. I haven't been super impressed, but he's been decent enough. USC's backup right now, is it Miller Moss?
Miller Moss, yeah.
Who's
not a lot of experience. He had like one touchdown in a game last year. He played like at the end of the season when Slovis was out, or Dart was out.
All right, I'd rank it. UW's got the best situation with the backup. UCLA's got the second best. Oregon's got the third best. Oregon or USC, it's the same thing. Both former highly touted guys who haven't played really at all.
But I would say who is relying on the run game more?
Oh, well, that's a good question. I thought this was more just about what would their passing game look like.
Maybe just offense in general. Like how?
Well, UW would then be the worst because they
yeah.
rely so much on the passing game.
Yes.
And then I think UCLA and Oregon would probably see the least drop off. Well, no, I think they're all pretty similar.
I think they're close.
I think they're all pretty similar. So I don't know that there'd be
because like UCLA can run the ball, but DTR just makes so much of that happen with.
So UCLA might be in the best shape then, because I think Ethan Garbers is probably a more, I don't know, there's more tangible to hold on to based on what we've seen so far than with Thompson at Oregon or Miller Moss at USC.
Yeah. All right. And he says, Dave, if you recall, you were super critical of the Adrian Clem hire at Oregon, yet their offensive line has given up 1 sack through 6 games. Is this what we should expect at the beginning of his tenure with a long, slow, frustrating migration towards mediocrity in years 3 or 4? After his recruits are filling out the line, is he getting a lot of credit? Is he getting a lot of credit? Is he getting a lot of credit a result of, quote, good Bo Nix or an upperclassman-led offensive line that is stacked with guys Cristobal and Alex Mirabel recruited, or perhaps it's more highlighting of how terrible Moore and his staff ran the offense in Westwood the last 3 years he was there? I honestly don't know what to say about it, since I was probably the most risky of the hires that Lanning made at the time he hired his staff, and has worked out to date better than anyone would have expected. Michael in Seattle.
I don't. Maybe I was. I don't remember being super critical of Clem. I think you're getting a two-edged sword based on my experience with him at UCLA. He's a really, really good recruiter, but there was some critique of him as a developer of talent at UCLA. And so I'll take you behind the curtain a little bit. Clem used to complain a lot about Brett Hundley as a quarterback, that he was creating a lot of the bad situations that the offensive line was put in. And I don't think that's wrong, and I think Bo Nix is probably helping that situation a bunch. I think the experience probably helps. The offense might be better and different than what UCLA was running. There could be a lot of reasons. I think the main thing you were getting with Clem, though, was awesome recruiting, and I think he's started out doing that pretty well at Oregon too. So yeah, good for him. I like Clem a lot personally, so very good.
All right. I think we got 2 more.
We've got a bunch of spam.
I got rid of some of the spam.
This is from Paul Webfoot. Chip Kelly replacement. Hello, champions. We all love to tease Dave about extending Chip Kelly with some insane Jimbo-like contract, but I have an honest, no-sass question about firing him. Firing Chip Kelly, not firing Dave. Extend Dave. We've seen quite a few examples of teams firing coaches who had consistently good seasons that don't meet the lofty expectations of that team based on previous performance, only to see their replacements absolutely torpedo the program. Gus Malzahn didn't deliver Auburn to the promised land, but he kept them at a good to great record and was no stranger to beating Saban. Now look at what Auburn is doing. Nebraska has made that mistake at least twice this century, and there are plenty more examples as well. Dave, are you confident that UCLA will actually upgrade if they fire Kelly and hit the open market? All the love, Paul Webfoot. So, all right, I'll give you a no-sass answer. It depends on what your impression of the UCLA program is, because what Chip Kelly produced through the first 3 years was nothing like anybody who has a historical perspective beyond, 15 years thinks that the UCLA program should be. Like they shouldn't ever be going 3-9. Like it. And this is where I think I'm going to appreciate this season, but there's a very good chance that this season is actually when the stars align and Minnesota's really good one year. because they've got a fifth-year quarterback and a running back who unexpectedly returned and a bunch of transfers in who can immediately play. But there's a very good chance they drop back to something like a 6-6 team next year. And there's a chance they might not. I'm not a perfect prognosticator, but my question has always been, is that the program that people want, the people who are, actually in the fan base want UCLA to be? Do you want to be Minnesota? Because that's essentially what UCLA is recruiting like. The advantage of being at UCLA is the proximity to top-tier high school talent and in numbers. And he hasn't been taking advantage of that. He's still not. And so it's just a question of what kind of program you think this should be. And if this season is gangbusters and super elite and it's the best season in UCLA history, they might win 11 games this year. It's certainly in the possibilities now. That'll be the most wins UCLA's ever had. So there's no arguing with that. It's just a question, if that turns out to be like you get a peak every 4 or 5 years, like one of those Big Ten teams that has to build through development and all these other things, is that good enough? And is the peak always going to be this high, or sometimes the peak not going to include Dorian Thompson-Robinson and it's going to be an 8-4 year? So anyway, it's kind of a nuanced thing and more about really super long-term perspective, which honestly I'm not even preferring right now. I'm not going to be making those arguments. It's just, since you asked me, I'm going to tell you, because it's a lot of fun to watch right now. What they're doing right now is a ton of fun, and I think UCLA fan base just get in the moment and enjoy it, because these kinds of stars don't align that often.
Oh yeah, definitely enjoy it. Like if you're having fun, teams winning, don't worry about all the other stuff. Just enjoy it. Like we only get 12 games a year, right?
Yeah.
Enjoy it, man. College football's fun.
In the same way that we wasted precious years of our lives in 2018 and 2019.
Preseason.
Yeah, don't waste this 2022 season feeling bitter about what Chip Kelly might do 2 years from now. Who cares?
That was all preseason.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, I'm going to have to think about it, because it's part of my job is to analyze this to death for all you sickos out there. But if you're just a fan, just bask in 2022. You don't get that many years of watching this stuff. And if it brings you some joy, let this season bring you some, because it's going to be, even if they go up there and lose to Oregon, they're still going to be in the conversation for the Pac-12 championship, and there's not a whole lot of losses left on this schedule. They could lose 2 more games, Oregon and USC, but if they lose any others besides that, it would be a real shocker to me.
Yeah.
So that's a 10-2 regular season.
Pretty darn good.
Yeah. Enjoy this.
With more upside, yeah.
Yeah.
One last email, and then we're going to get to some YouTube questions. So put your questions in the chat box if you're watching live. POC Musing Ducks fans. Hi, Brian and Dan. With saying, quote, good teams win, great teams cover. Is that meant to apply to only the winning team covering the spread, or is it an offhanded way to give a nod to a loser beating the spread, because if you bet on a loser, the team is still, quote, great for beating the spread?
I almost only use it for the latter,
Right.
for a team that is just getting its ass kicked, but does a backdoor cover at the end.
Backdoor cover thing.
That was Cam Ward against Oregon, and it was sadly not Cam Ward against USC. He had the ball. He had the ball with about a minute to go, and he couldn't do one thing for me.
No.
Just get the ball down the field and
They didn't score in the second half. Yeah, there was no backdoor cover there. But yes, like it's you can be a good team by winning, but it's great if you keep it close and cover when you
look. Great teams understand the points that matter.
Yes.
Okay. Good teams, they're worried about winning. Great teams understand the most important thing is winning for the boys in Vegas.
Yeah. Are we tired of Ducks fans yet? They sure came out of the woodwork after going into hiding. Do we agree that they're the most obnoxious fan base in the Pac-12? Amazingly, Ryan single-handedly skews the Trojan fan base out of first place by being a likable Trojan fan. Even the, quote, way too loud Darth Vader drop is forgiven. I haven't played that in a while. I'll be playing the hell out of that if they win in Salt Lake City. So I haven't played it for a while because they just haven't been the Death Star. They've won. They've covered some spreads, but they haven't been the Death Star. They go to the Utah and win. Death Star's coming back.
Yeah. I would say USC, when things are really good and they're really rolling, which isn't even yet. It's like once they've won a national championship, those fans, because they come out of the woodwork, like they come out of the tangential fans, like they're basically like Lakers fans who just decided to hop over for a little bit. Those ones are the worst. They're absolutely horrible. But I've got a nuanced answer to this one.
Okay.
It's Cal fans.
Really?
They don't exist anymore.
Okay.
They are extinct. But it's sort of like anybody seen Raya and the Last Dragon?
No.
It's sort of like those beasts.
You're asking like anybody. There's only me in the room.
It's sort of like those beasts that are held in sway by the dragon, the Last Dragon's magic. They're always waiting to come back out. And if you remember 2005 or so when Tedford was rolling, there was nothing more obnoxious than the Cal fan base. That they've been mediocre and non-existent for so long is a blessing, given how they behaved from like basically 2002 to 2007. Cal, they're the worst.
Cal. I mean, I'm probably go up there with, or I'd probably agree with the Oregon stuff. I think if the Pacific, there's some people that don't like the Washington fans, but the chip on the shoulder thing, like, to be fair, like a lot of USC fans don't even care about the other programs. They're just like, it's like, maybe that's what's obnoxious is like they don't even give a crap like what's going on. I had a friend she's an Ohio State fan, and she was like, hey, I'm going to come to this tailgate. Is it okay if I wear Ohio State stuff? I'm like, yeah, no one's going to care. Like if you wore like UCLA gear or Notre Dame gear, they would care, but it's like, there's kind of an indifference with a lot of USC fans. They're just sort of like, we just think, we're worried about ourselves, not worried about you. I think with Oregon, there's more of like you're trying to project on like we're the class of the conference now, and so I think that's where you get the obnoxiousness. There's like this kind of chip on the shoulder thing that you're trying to prove something.
Yeah,
does that make sense?
Yeah, there's definitely part of that. I think my favorite fan bases right now in the league are probably Washington. I think Washington's pretty fun.
Oh, someone's gonna get mad at you for that.
Yeah, I like Utah fans, the ones we interact with anyway.
No, they've been cool. But there's some brutal.
I mean, Stanford's fan base, their entire fan base produces that picks spreadsheet for us.
They do. That was really nice of them.
So that's very nice of them. Matthew is his name.
The Zodiac Killer.
Zodiac Killer, we like him.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of good.
There's plenty of good fans like all over the place. And
yeah.
It's hard to like categorize. It's who's bad or good or whatever.
And I like a lot of our Duck fan listeners.
Yeah, like there's some really good ones, like knowledgeable guys and stuff. Cool about the Monday show. One thing I've noticed is that there's almost no college football podcast early in the week, making me listen to the inferior or quote non-Pac-12 ones until Thursday, Friday, when they all drop. But life intervenes, and we might not have a chance to properly digest in time for the moment that Saturday morning action starts, at which time the previous week's podcasts are instantly moot. What I'm trying to say is, I think you get a lot more listens if you dropped earlier in the week, even just one day earlier. And selfishly, I would be able to listen sooner and to the entire thing. Thanks for all you do, Brew and Rick.
Yeah, I think our schedules have been a little bit topsy-turvy. We might be able to move the show to an earlier day of the week. We've talked about it a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we'd both prefer to get this out a little bit earlier. It would certainly make my end of the week a little bit less crazy because I'm usually having to write a preview for UCLA, and then I have to do a bunch of crap on Thursdays and Fridays. So it would be great, I think, if we could do this a little bit earlier. It's just scheduling has been tough.
Yeah, it's been a little tough. We've both had a bunch of things going on. Let's do a couple of questions from the chat. Aaron said, let me put this up for you guys. Sorry. For Dave, chances UCLA builds on chances UCLA builds an on or near campus stadium in the next 10 years.
No. 0.
So, okay. So you're saying there's a chance is what you're saying.
Yeah. Where was Aaron's? I didn't see that one. Is it really high up there?
It was a while ago. I've started, so I'm like bringing.
Oh,
it
you're
back.
Going down. All right. So I'm going to start from the bottom up then on questions.
Okay.
So
well, here, I just pulled one up. So Alan, did you have the Alans?
Okay, fine. You do them then.
No,
I
already pulled it up.
Who cares? You ask all the questions.
Question: agree or disagree? Lincoln Riley has been holding back plays and formations for bigger games. I mean, I don't think you call every play, but I don't know if you're holding anything back for like. I mean, they were in dogfights, so I think if you're trying to get through now, Chip Kelly does that. I don't know if Riley does.
It's not that Chip Kelly does that. It's that Chip Kelly changes so much from game to game that it almost looks that way.
Okay.
But he's creating it's basically like boutique offenses for every single week. Like
Gotcha.
That's probably the differentiator that he's produced at UCLA is like Okay, well, this week we're going to throw that out, and we're going to do this entirely new thing.
Nice.
So that's been kind of his thing.
Yeah, you read the question, and I'll pull it up. So whatever one you pick.
Oh God, now I gotta look again. All right. This is from Turtles Are Good.
Okay.
Question: would UCLA be in the same spot had Dylan Gabriel remained committed? No. Everyone. Turtles Are Good. No, this isn't directed at you, but everyone needs to really get on the Dorian Thompson-Robinson train. There's
he's bad, you're saying, or
there's maybe 2 quarterbacks in the country who are playing as well as he is, maybe. And I think the only one who actually has an argument for better right now is C.J. Stroud.
Yeah, Stroud's like Stroud doesn't have his best wide receiver.
He's playing the best. So I was making this point in the post-game broadcast, but he's playing better than Josh Rosen ever did in a UCLA uniform, and I think he's right now playing better than Brett Hundley ever did.
He's
in a
definitely
UCLA
better than
uniform.
Hundley, I think. Yeah.
Like you have to go back to like one of those crazy stretches for Cade McNown to find a quarterback who was playing better, and even then I'm not sure because he was never running the ball like Dorian can. It's otherworldly. Everyone should start to appreciate it. No quarterback that you dumped into this offense would be playing better right now.
Do you want to do Zach's? He was a kind of follow-up to that. Did you see that one?
No.
I got it. So which round are you taking DTR in the draft? Has he established himself as a draft prospect?
I have no idea. I don't do the NFL at all. I think he should have. So I think the knock on Dorian would probably be the issues he had prior to this season. Some accuracy stuff, probably still. Like you need to see a larger sample size of him just hitting guys on time. But most of that stuff seems like it's gotten solved this year. He's going through progressions. The dumbest thing I heard from an announcer, and it reflected maybe some bad scouting by the Washington defensive staff, was referring to Thompson Robinson as a one-read quarterback. That's not him anymore at all. And I think Utah had the same sort of idea about Thompson Robinson, and it burned him badly.
I saw your tweet. Yeah, you were like, they're defending like 2019 DTR.
Yeah, well, because they're trying to blitz him, and they're trying to get him rattled, and he's just still, okay, calmly go through this, dump it off to this guy. He's going to have a 70-yard touchdown. I'm going to hit my hot route because the blitz is coming. Like, just calm, and he's hitting everything on time. And he's not having to throw deep to do it. And people are, like, knocking him for that. I'm like, yeah, it's because he doesn't have to. Yeah. He's hitting a lot of dump-offs or going big because he's hitting the right guy. It's not – he doesn't need to throw 30 yards downfield to get a 30-yard completion. And he's understanding that now. Playing at a super high level.
EVS says, Ryan and Dave, who loses first, $C or UCLA?
Well, USC, because it's this weekend and UCLA doesn't play.
It's a good question. So it's either basically like, do you think they're both going to beat Utah?
Yeah, which holds serve in their tough road game, basically.
Yeah. But USC has I would say I'm going to go USC just because they play first. Like, both teams could lose, but USC is going to do it first if they both lose.
Yeah, even if you have USC, Utah's a 50-50 game, and then UCLA, Oregon in a couple of weeks is something close to a 50-50 game, it's just one of them plays first.
Yeah, so I'll go with that. And then No G, Screw Mary ends up on Alabama coaching staff. So was it Screw Mary or Kill? Is that the?
I think he means fuck, Mary, kill. He's just being
right, but he didn't put
prudish.
Kill there. I think he just put Screw Mary. So Screw Mary Kill is the game.
Oh, okay, yeah, fuck, Mary, kill, but instead of fucking Mary, it's fucking Mary, but then also the final one for kill ends up on Alabama.
Oh, okay, staff. All right, so that's the thing. Herm Edwards, David Shaw, Carl Durrell.
Gotta fuck Carl, right? He's a good looking guy.
I don't know. David Shaw's pretty.
Yeah, but if you marry David Shaw, you're getting taken care of by a Stanford grad.
That's true. So we'll marry David Shaw. And so, but who would be better on? I think Carl's more of an Alabama coaching staff.
Yeah, but are you wanting to fuck Herm Edwards?
No.
I mean, he looks good for an old guy.
I guess Herm would be like one of those analysts that's just sort of like on Saban's staff. All right.
Yeah.
We'll go with that.
Okay.
Nice. Let's see. Oh. Do we have anything else? I think we are good. Yeah, I think we got all the questions in there. But thank you everyone for watching us live on the YouTube channel. We're back on that. Hopefully we'll continue to be back on that. My apologies. It's all me. Like, I've been out of town, so it's hard for me to do this stuff. remotely because David can't come into the studio. Like if Dave was remote, I could come in the studio and hook it up remotely. Like he's incapable, so he can't do that kind of thing. So
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
So unless I'm here,
drive by here at the end of the show.
unless I'm here, we can't. It's just not possible. We could try to do something like just with our phones or something. I don't know. But
maybe we could do something with Twitter Spaces, Ryan.
you should, I did one. College football Reddit.
Yeah.
Have you heard of them?
I'm aware.
Apparently, I'm a big deal.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was a
Yeah.
guest.
I didn't get invited.
Did you? They didn't ask you?
No.
Is UCLA undefeated or something? Or
They are. They are.
You would think.
Yeah, it's almost like there's a generalized bias in favor of USC.
Right. Yeah, I could put in a word for you if you want.
Oh no.
You sure?
No, I don't want it.
You don't.
Actually, I kind of don't because I don't want to have to make the time to do it. It's so funny. Like 247, they were like, "You want to be on the College Football Daily?" And of course, I don't respond until the morning of. And I'm like, "Actually, I'm doing stuff with my kids. Can it be like 1 p.m.?" They're like, "No, I guess we'll get you next time." Next time UCLA is 6-0 and undefeated.
Right.
Okay. Cool.
Like they actually plan stuff, so you can't.
Yeah, they're trying. They're trying
you can't
to
just walk
yeah.
in like, "Oh yeah, I'm here. Do you want to do it now?" Like, no, we've already moved on. Like, you didn't respond 3 days ago, so we've got somebody else. Dave's like, "You just wait around for me?
Can't you just wait?" No.
When I respond, if I do."
If I do. And like they tried to reach out via Slack. They tried to text
Oh,
me.
yeah.
Yeah, no. It was a banner moment.
They could have asked me, and I'd be like, "Yeah, good luck."
Yeah.
I have this one thing where like, "Hey, I have a pile of money for you, David," and he's like, "Yeah, I didn't bother to respond. Whatever."
Hey, I got that pile of money.
Did you?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are you gonna put it on?
I might put it on Utes. Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
Awesome. Well, let's wrap things up. That is David Woods. I am Ryan Abraham. We can show you guys the full studio. Hope you guys enjoyed the show, and we will talk to you next time.
Bye.